Make sure you go out there and subscribe. Welcome to Rare Fridays with Mick and Jay, where we talk about sports, life in general, and a whole lot of other shit. I'll let you go ahead and lead with this. When All-Star break, what did you expect moving forward?
After the All-Star break, I expected for the Royals to figure out a way to right the wrongs of the first half of the season. The wrongs of the first half of the season, low scoring output, not being able to hit with runners in scoring position, just, base running mistakes and things that I watched over the course of the first half that I just expected for them to correct. Whether it be those 4 days or 5 days that they got off for All-Star weekend to, go and revisit and refocus. We had a couple of people, we had a couple of All-Stars, Maikel Garcia, Bobby Witt, Chris Bubich. Unfortunately, after the All-Star break, Bubich ends up with an elbow injury and he's out for the season. So our number one pitching all-star is now out for the season. So we ended up losing about 3 pitchers. So Cole Reagans is out, Bubich is out, and there's one more that I can't think of off the top of my head. Lorenzen's out. That's who out. And those are 3 of our 5 starting rotation. So we down to 2 pitchers. And we've been bringing in, we brought in a couple at the trade deadline. Fast forward into today, Berger pitched today, which he had a decent outing, and it was a really he looked like he's getting more and more comfortable within the Royal system, within the uniform, getting used to Salvi behind the plate, changing catchers. All that stuff makes a huge difference, because you build a rapport, you build a relationship with your catcher, and he knows how to call your game, or he knows what sequence of pitches you should throw at a certain time to certain hitters. When you come in and you have to rebuild a relationship with your catcher, then that can throw your game off. So, I feel like his first outing, he wasn't quite as comfortable with the catcher, and this second outing looked a whole lot better. Some of the people that we picked up during the trade deadline, helped. That was the second thing that I was really looking forward to after the All-Star break, was the trade deadline, to see what kind of moves that the Royals would make to make a push to try to get the wild card, and fortunately, with the way Detroit's been playing lately, they've been losing more games than they've been winning, so it allows us to gain ground if we can win. We had a series this weekend with the Minnesota Twins. One of the things that really stood out to me about that series was that Minnesota had just traded 11 of their players at the trade deadline. So all of they lineup was these young up and coming players that are either rookies, second year players. They brought them up from the minor leagues, from AAA, and giving them opportunities. Unfortunately, those opportunities led to a series win, because we couldn't figure out what to do with the young cats. They had bats rattling. The pitching was it was stumping our hitters. We've made some adjustments in the lineup. Some days it works, some days it don't. You could tell which days they groveled over a loss and had too many Miller High Lives after the game. Because the next day, it shows. I don't expect them to be perfect. It's 162 games, and it's a lot of season.
Jay Sharp though. Realistically though, we're over 100 games in though. And
yeah,
I heard you say that they might have been able to gain ground because Detroit ain't been playing well. From my stat checking, I believe they lost 12 of the last 15. So you should have been able to catch them, roughly. You know what I mean? We wasn't that. What was we? How many?
You got to admit.
Were we? What was we? 9 games.
We was like 13.
Games? It was 9
we
games
was like
back.
13 games. We was like at the All-Star break. We was like 13, 14 games out of first place. You know, and it was an uphill battle, and it still is an uphill battle because you don't expect Detroit to just keep losing. They still the number 1 team in the AL Central. So something's got to give. I was listening to one of the sports talk shows the other day, and they made a great point. We gotta. They on their way home right now, and we got a 10-game stretch against sucky teams. These last 3 games were supposed to be a part of this stretch where we should be able to take these series and win at least 7 of 10.
Are you talking about on this next stretch?
Yeah, over the next 10 games, we playing the Chicago White Sox and we got 7 with the Chicago White Sox. We got 4 with the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
And then I do believe that we actually play Detroit after that. So the next 7 games, it was the 10-game stretch started with this weekend.
They haven't played 2 weeks of good baseball all year, and you've been watching them. I'm talking 2
No, they haven't.
Straight weeks, not
2
they've
consecutive. They're not consistent.
So
They're not
to
consistent.
be realistic. You've been
At all.
watching.
I'm very realistic about it.
So what? Realistic, you said 74. Realistic in my mind, if they finna try to make a push, they need to be going 8-2 because you dropped 2 games that you shouldn't have dropped. If you wouldn't have dropped these, if you would have swept,
it's a must.
If you would have swept Minnesota, then I'm with you right here on the bandwagon, 7-4. But you just dropped 2 games to some minor league, some kids. They hungry. But these are kids. Whole team is broken up. They're not expecting to win. They're expecting to lose. They're not going out there to lose. But I don't believe that management was thinking, the morale was in there like we can do it. But I don't think outside of the players, I don't think, they thought that they could do it. The players did. So
right.
I don't know what makes you think that the next 2 weeks is going to be anything different. That's what's been a Microsoft of the masses of the whole entire season, because what happened today? What happened today?
Mm-hmm.
It's been what's been wrong with them the entire season. The mental breakdown, and not just on Rob, whatever his damn name is out there in the outfield. So not just him, because it ain't been just him. It just was him today.
It has not.
Right? So it was just been him today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my thoughts on it is, I had high hopes for him. You know what I mean? I had high hopes for him. And over to the fat lady scene, it's with anything. It's like, we seen the Chiefs line have offensive problem last year. And we knew in the biggest moments that this is our kryptonite. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. See, the Lakers had no center. So, yeah, you can get far with Luka and LeBron James, but that is going to be your kryptonite. When you go against elite teams, they will figure out your weakness and exploit it.
Right.
And the catch is, what's weird about the Royals is, no one is really exploiting our weakness. It seems like we are committing mental errors to beat ourselves, because the Minnesota Twins didn't beat us today. We got 9 hits. They got 3. So we out-hit them.
Yeah.
Out through them, right? Because we didn't have them just hitting it out the park. But the mental mistakes that we continue to make game in and game out is unacceptable. And it's not giving me hope. So this is where I'm coming from. You know what I mean?
I understand that.
It's not giving me hope. And I still believe, but it's like, I don't know if they believe, and it's in the little details because, like I'm saying, is it'd be different if they don't got no squad, bro. When I look at them on paper and I look at them and I look at where they rank since the All-Star, you know what I mean, with their batting, when the bats, this ain't talking about the beginning of the season. I'm talking about how the bats been batting lately. You know what I mean? Yes, it was a rough 60 days, 70 days of non-scoring, but we were still able to manage some wins out and keep those games close. But now that the bats is going, those same mental errors that was happening in those tight games is happening in the big spread games and in the tightest moments. The things like we talked about before. This team has more talent, but they don't do anything small right. Nothing. Pitch hitting, base running. Nothing.
One thing about it is, I feel like, and this is, and far be it from me to make any kind of excuses for them, because baseball is one of the most unpredictable games that, you can play, because people think that it's just about in between the lines, but the stadium makes a big difference. The dimensions make a difference. It's a lot of what they've gone through have been bad bounces. Okay? I'm not taking away from the mental errors, the base running errors.
Because it kind of sounds like.
No, I'm not. No, not by any means. I'm not, because those are the bonehead plays of the day. Okay, and you lucky if you get through a game without a bonehead play. There's a lapse in judgment as a ball player. There's a pressing the issue, and really and truly is where I feel like this is where the Royals are at now, because now they're pressing the issue, which is creating more and more of those bonehead plays. They create the mental lapses. They create the getting picked off at second base for no fucking reason when you in extra innings and you're a free base runner on second base. There's no reason for you to get picked off. Keep your ass there. You already in scoring position. Running, going through a sign, because we talked about, and it was rave, son bitch, rave twice in the weekend. But when he came around third, I thought he got waved home. Come to find out, he didn't get waved home. He just ran through the sign. He ran through the stop sign. So it's like, okay, yeah, these mental mistakes, and the coldest part about it is they from the new players.
Are we playing for, or do you think that they're playing for one? Or do you feel a team effort? Or is it, you know what I mean? Or is it like individuals trying to do too much individually?
They're trying to individually do too much for the team.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, as team oriented as it is, individually, you still got to step up and do your job. We talk about the lineup and how I feel like they should have spread the lineup out, especially over this second half of the season. They've made some adjustments. They moved India out of the lead up role, but he wasn't hitting. So the leadoff role, you're supposed to get on base so that 2, 3, and 4 can drive you in. If you don't get on base at 1, then you're already fucking up the game plan. So there's no point in you be at 1. So they moved him down to 6. Picked up Mike Yastrzemski, moved him into the leadoff role. You get a little bit better production, but it depends on what day it is. To get them to play some consistent ball, and it's not too late. It's not too late for that switch to turn on. And they because I watched them over the course of this season have a 10, 12, 14 game run. Win 14 or 16. And get themselves back in.
Real optimistic. Okay, so with that type of optimisticness, on a meter scale, you take a drink. On a meter scale, how concerned from 1 to 10? How concerned are you about your Royals? making the
Oh, I'm very
postseason.
concerned. Oh, I'm concerned about them making the
From 1 to
postseason.
10 meter scale.
1 to 10 meter scale. Oh, I'm gonna say about a 7. It's about a 7. I'm waiting on either the light to come on or the power to shut off, nigga. One of the two. It's gonna be one of the two. They still got time. They only 2 games under 500. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is that they're only 2 games under 500.
Yeah.
If they turn on the switch, they get home, and these is 10 games at home. We've been gone for the last 2 weeks.
See what they got for the home stretch, man. We're gonna go to
Yeah.
October 1st, see how many wins can they squeak out, and like I said, we'll keep some updates on them as long as they got some ice in the vein.
Hey, when it ain't Red Friday, it's Royal Blue. What's happening?